Hey, my fellow nerds, geeks, and/or comic book lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is NeuroSpider369, and today...
Oh, silly Roger, you really thought that you would be doing a Riddler video without your massive Riddler friend? Nah, man, you want a video of Riddler, then we do this together. You and me.
Oh, no. I should have known this was gonna happen. As soon as I made my first Riddler video, I should have known this was gonna happen. Well, I guess since you're already here, you might as well help me with the review, given you are a good friend of mine, and as you previously stated, a massive Riddler fan. So, I guess with all that said and done, let's get into it. Questions Multiply the Mystery was published in 1995's Detective Comics Annual Number 8. The story was written by Chuck Dixon and penciled by Kieron Dwyer. In it, we see Riddler being held in an observation room at Arkham, expressing his annoyance towards the doctors for their repeated attempts at piercing into his psyche, but then decides to indulge them with his life story and explains how he came to be the Riddler. Growing up in the town of Waterbury, Edward Nygma was an overly curious child who was often ignored by the people around him, as well as neglected by his unloving parents. Due to this, he craved for attention and aspired to be the one who held all the answers, even if it meant asking the questions first. He does this by participating in a puzzle-solving contest at school. Nygma would end up winning the contest, albeit by means of cheating. This led him to become obsessed with brain teasers of all kinds, especially puzzles and riddles. After graduating high school, Nygma tried to live a normal life as an adult, but found it to be extremely fatiguing. He then decides to turn to crime, but quickly realizes he's not gaining the notoriety he had been striving for. Nygma soon begins to send riddles to the GCPD in order to better obtain their attention. This ended up working, and at long last, it seemed that Nygma finally had everything that he wanted, and no one could stand in his way.
Which is the way it should have been. No one would have been able to hound Eddie if it wasn't for that good-for-nothing!
Thank you, David. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. Eventually, Nygma would cross paths with the Dark Knight during an attempted robbery. After escaping his first encounter, Nygma realized that he would need henchmen to help pull off his future capers. This is where he'd come across Query and Echo, a pair of dominatrixes who were induced into becoming his henchwomen. After numerous confrontations with the Batman, Riddler's reputation as a career criminal finally began to skyrocket. However, all good things come to an end sooner or later, as Nygma would eventually be caught and sent to Arkham, swearing revenge against the Dark Knight. The story ends with poor Eddie having a psychotic meltdown upon realizing he had told his entire story to no one. He's then subdued by orderlies and put back in his cell where he remained in a near catatonic state. As it turns out, the reason none of the doctors were there for the session was because they all decided to take a lunch break, and apparently didn't think they were really missing much anyway.
The insolence! Riddler's backstory was a privilege to hear. The Arkham staff are just idiots in lab coats. Why I oughta...
David, calm down. Fucking hell. I'm sorry about him. He tends to get a bit carried away with his Riddler obsession. So anyway, although this is only my second favorite Riddler story, I do find the origin we're given here to be the most definitive for him. I was somewhat surprised it wasn't over-exaggerated in any fashion, but I'm not gonna complain. It's still one hell of a read, and given it was written by Chuck Dixon, that shouldn't come as a surprise. As for the art, I kinda like it. It's not fantastic, but it's still some pretty solid work done by Kieron Dwyer. Now with that said, David, would you care to share your thoughts on the story?
Thank you, NeuroSpider. My official thoughts on this book is simple. It's the best Riddler story. The greatest Batman writer of all time, Chuck Dixon, comes back to give us the ultimate depiction of the Riddler. Riddler has never been depicted as great as he has been here. Throughout this entire story, we tend to understand the complex layers of why Nigma is the way he is. Begging for attention as he was has never given it this depth as we have with this story. This also is demonstrated greatly throughout the art, as we see Riddler go through stupid sweatshirts with question marks on them to fully decked out suits and more style. The complexity of his riddles is done great throughout the story, such as banquet being pronounced as banquet through Commissioner Gordon's accent. His hatred with Batman is done masterfully well, and we've never seen it so deep as we have here. Literally, Batman is the utter bane of Riddler's existence. Riddler hates Batman with every single fiber of his body, and unlike that pesky little clown we all so know, Riddler actually wants to kill Batman, so he can prove once and for all that he is the smartest man in Gotham. It's okay, Nigma. I know that you are. But it's also greatly shown through the flashbacks of Riddler's backstory, as we see Batman be this looming shadow of vengeance and darkness throughout the darkest moments of Riddler's memories. It's so tragic to think of this compulsion Nigma has. All he wants is everyone to know that he is the smartest man in Gotham. I'm gonna be completely honest right now. Reading this story honestly gave me a lot of relatability between me and the Riddler, as him and I both gained our interests through our early childhoods. Him with his riddles, and me with my love of superheroes. And while my understanding for how much I really do love this character has really come with time, it's now that I know, and that we all should know, that Riddler is the greatest Batman villain of all time. Hands down.
Well, there you have it. That's the comic book storyline. Questions multiply the mystery. Despite crashing in unannounced on this video, I do want to thank David here for joining me today to share his thoughts on this story.
Thank you, NeuroSpider369, for having me on the show. Until next time.
And on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what your thoughts on this story are. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. Catch y'all later.